me about it. Come on, let's talk about it. Change up the things you see. Open your mind to possibilities. Find your power, passion, and your purpose. You know it's time for you to walk in greatness. Let's murder mediocrity. Slay your goals, live out your dreams. Right now. Inspirational perspective.
The number one ingredient of what I believe makes people successful, what has been a real game changer for me in my life in terms of what has made me successful. That number one ingredient, vision. Vision. Now, last week, we covered this in detail. When I talk vision, when I say vision, what exactly do I mean? And I want to kind of double down on that. So here's what I did. Last night, I listened to last week's show. I'm like, I don't want there to be any gaps for anybody that listened. I talked to a few people, got a lot of emails, messages on social media about the show. People saying, man, thank you so much. You know, I'm going to take this. I'm going to run with it. And I was thinking to myself, all right, let's make sure they got everything they need. All right, no excuses. The only reason this breaks down is because of you, not me. I ain't missed nothing. So I listened back to the show and I realized, I said, so everything's covered in terms of vision, right? We talked, how do you set a vision? You visualize, right? You see it in your mind's eye. You feel it emotionally. You bring your emotions into play. And then you embrace it. We talked about and what embracing means, right? So if it's my vision, I embrace it. You know, think about your child. You likely embrace your child every day, right? So my vision is the same way. It's my child. It's my baby. You know, I want to birth this thing. And so I'm going to embrace it every day. Every day. I'm thinking about my vision. I'm meditating on my vision. I'm obsessing about my vision. And by the way, I'm so clear on what I want to create that anything from the outside, we were talking about this as we were setting up for the show, anything from the outside, including lifetime traditions, if it does not align with my vision, I'm like, no. What am I talking about in terms of lifetime traditions? Christmas. If you have a vision for your finances and Christmas presents don't fit, no. Hey, Aunt, you not giving me nothing this year? No. Hey, babe, are we doing Christmas gifts this year? Babe, we talked about this, right? Because, if you married, you and your wife have to be on the same page. Right? Don't be saying, well, Linnell said no to Christmas gifts. I'm not saying that, right? I'm saying it's when you have a combined vision and something doesn't fit into that vision, including traditional customs. If it doesn't fit into that vision, then especially if you're married, you're on the same page. You're like, hey, look, this don't fit. No. Now, other folks going to have something to say. Why y'all didn't? What he get you? What? And it's like, we building something. We creating. I wouldn't even explain anything past that. We building something. Leave me alone. Right? We creating something. I'm happy for you. What you get, right? I just flip it back. But let me tell you something. This is how obsessed you have to be with your vision. I want to cover the one last piece that I discussed, and that was regarding this whole notion of what gets in the way of a vision. Like, what gets in the way of a vision? And I talked about trauma as one of the things that gets in the way of vision. I talked about foundational beliefs, if you all remember. I talked about foundational beliefs. Now, for those of you whom this is your first time hearing this, a foundational belief is something that does not allow you to see a vision in your mind's eye. It could be as simple as, let's go with one that I know everybody says they have, but they don't. Now, if you say, right now, I could have people call in, and at the end of the call, I could say, do you have a vision for being a millionaire? They'll be like, yeah. But here's the thing, they don't. Because if they had a vision for being a millionaire, listen to me, if they had a vision for being a millionaire, then they would be doing the three things that I've talked about. They would visualize themselves. Now, work with me here because somebody mad. Like, how you going to, like, just listen, right? You would be visualizing daily what life would be like if you were a millionaire. This is what it means to have a vision to be a millionaire. You would be visualizing daily what life is like as a millionaire, right? Millionaires fly first class. You'd be on a plane and coach like, I'm in first class. I mean, this is how you get there, right? You see yourself. You walk past and be like, that's all right. Be sitting next to you in a little while. Just watch, right? You see yourself there. You feel yourself there. Emotionally, you're already emotionally there. You're like, man, it feels good to get served like this. Orange juice before the flight takes off. I don't even know why they do that. I don't even drink orange juice at home. I'd be like, y'all take some orange juice, please. Thank you. Just obnoxious, right? But this is, you feel it emotionally. You're completely there. But not only that, you embrace it. You think about it every day. That's vision. Most of us have wants. You want to be. It's not your vision. It's not your vision. That is a fundamental difference between wanting something and having a vision for something. And I want to be really clear about this. So a foundational belief gets in the way of your ability to actually see it. And the way that we address foundational beliefs is through therapy, through coaching, and awareness. You have to be aware that you have a foundational belief that's getting in the way of what it is that you're looking to create. How do you become aware? You're like, I just can't see it, Linnell. I just can't see it. If I can't see it, and think about this, how powerful the imagination is. I just want you all to be with me on this one. The imagination is so powerful that right now, I can begin to paint a picture. I'm going to do it. I can begin to paint a picture for all of us. And it's going to be a wild picture. And you will see it in your mind. All right, so here's the wildest picture I can paint. We're all standing together on a cliff, right on the edge of a cliff. Me, you, many of the other listeners you've never seen before. And as we stand there, we all have on these beautiful leather boots that come to maybe halfway up the shin. You can see it. We're all standing there. We're on this cliff. We have on these boots, come halfway up to the shin. And then we all decide that we're going to fly off this cliff into the sky on the back of our dragons. We hail our dragons, we have them come down, and we climb onto the back of the dragons, and the wings start to flap, and we lift off. And here we are, flying through the sky, floating through the clouds. Look to your left, who's there? Look to your right, who's there? That's how crazy the imagination is. Like, can you see that? That is how powerful the imagination is. You can make believe in the imagination. This is how powerful the mind is. Last week, I talked about the difference between how we mix up the mind and the body. The body can only be here in this present moment. It can't do anything else. The mind can be in the past. Some of us are living there. That's why you can't have a vision for the future. You're still obsessed with the past. You're still mad about the past. you're still incomplete. We're going to talk about that later in the month. You're still incomplete with certain emotional or physical or mental or spiritual events from your past. And so you're in the past. Some of us, we're in make-believe. We daydream, right? So that, you're still on your dragon right now. I done lost them, right? They like, let's go. You're still on your dragon. The mind is so powerful, though, that's where you are. Like, that's where you are. Like, they done flew past, they done seen things and waterfalls. They they gone, right? But that mind is that powerful. The mind is also powerful enough to carve its way into the future. This is what we're going to talk about today. Because if you want to know how to navigate the coming uncertainty, because let's be clear, like that, most of us have been around long enough for multiple economic cycles. You see how it goes. If you can't see this setup, then I don't know what to tell you, right? But it smells like a setup. It looks like a setup. It's an economic setup. It's coming. And so this is what we have to do. We have to be astute enough to see these things, to see into the future. And this is why vision in particular is so important. The one thing that I didn't cover is the notion of desire. The notion of desire. Now, here's the thing. Many of us, we stop desiring deeply because we've been so disappointed. We've been disappointed so much, so many times, we stop desiring things deeply. So when I go back to the example I gave around being a millionaire, right? Do you have a vision for being a millionaire? Most people would say, yes. Yeah, of course. But you don't have a deep desire for it. Why don't you have a deep desire? Because you don't want to be disappointed. And God knows your financial situation has disappointed you so deeply in the past that if you can just get by, if I can just, and I want you all to really hear me, because it's this, we talk about the chains of the mind, right? Breaking the chains of the mind. I was at a funeral yesterday. The singer was singing "Break Every Chain," and I this is how I think. I'm sitting there listening to him, and I'm like, but do we know what chains? See, because you got to call them out. You can say break every chain, but you got to call them out. Like, what are your chains? Some of us have physical health chains. Some of us have emotional health chains. Like you would wake up depressed. That's a chain. And you're saying, break every chain. And I'm just thinking, this is how I think about things. I'm like, man, do they know what chains do I have that need to be broken? Now, I'm grateful to the Creator because I had some chains. And those are things I prayed about. That's why I mind my own business. I got things, things I'm working on. I can't be worried about, man, what I did? Why he do that? Say, hey, I'll pray for that brother. So I can't be obsessing about what that brother's doing or not doing. Why Justin do that? Hey, I can't worry about that brother. I'm over here trying to break my own chains. That's why some of us still in chains. We pointed out, look what they down. Look what got them bound. What got you bound? Anyway, so I'm listening to him, and what came to my mind is that if as a community we could break the mental chains that have us bound, what we could achieve. Linnell, what are you talking about? I'm talking about many of us can't even craft a powerful vision for our lives because we won't even let our mind go there because we have been so disappointed. We have been so let down that we don't have any deep desires anymore. no deep desires. We're just kind of existing. And the formula for powerfully creating is, I told you, visualize it and feel it. Well, to feel it means that you must have sourced. Deep desire must be at the source. But because I've been so beaten down by life, so broken, I don't even allow myself to desire anything anymore. I don't want to get my hopes up. You know, Linnell, don't get my hopes up. Like, don't play with me like that. I don't want to get my hopes up. And so we kind of live this emotionally nullified life. And the only way to create powerfully is to get your emotions involved. So I missed this last week, in terms of deep desire, because when you're crafting a vision, this has to be something that you desire. I don't want to say want, right? Because we want a lot of things. I want it to be just a little more comfortable in the studio this morning, right? But if I had a deep desire for it, I start making things happen. Hey, Justin, call so-and-so, right? I just, I just want it, but it's okay. It's a little, more chilly than I like. It could be but so it's okay. But a deep desire has you do something about it. That's the difference. What is it that you deeply desire? What's interesting is many of us, we've stopped deeply desiring almost anything. Look at your health. Like, look at your body mass. You know it's over what it's supposed to be. You get winded walking. If you had a deep desire just to shift that, watch how quickly it comes in play. In some ways, we're not completely in tune with ourselves. And that's why you don't know what you desire. In other ways, we're afraid to go for it. I don't want to be disappointed. You don't know how many diets I've been on. And what I'm saying is, if you take the formula that I provided last week, visualize it, feel it, embrace it, you can't help but succeed. This is how it works. So deep desire. Here's a practice for you going into this next week. And you may want to think about this even today. Like, don't let it get too far. I want you to write down your top 3 deepest desires for your life. Now, let me give you some places to look. I went through the 12 categories last week. The 12 categories are made up of the 4 pillars of life. The 4 pillars of life are health and well-being, relationships and love, work and money, purpose and spirituality. Those are the 4 pillars of life. Now, within those pillars, we have categories. In health and well-being, you have your physical health. You have your mental dexterity. That's your intelligence. There's nothing wrong with having a deep desire to master something. I want to be one of the best coaches on the planet. Right? That was a mental dexterity goal. And I applied myself to training deeply, deeply, deeply for 5 years. And I still apply myself. But for the first 5 years, all in, hours and hours and gaining mentorship and things like that. That was a mental dexterity goal. And it was you say, well, how is that well-being? Oh, I'm better. I'm better health-wise because of it. I increased my overall knowledge of self, and so therefore I am better. That's why it's a health and well-being goal. So physical health, mental dexterity, emotional fitness. Emotional fitness, one of the things that is under fire right now for many of us is our emotional fitness. And if we continue to allow the inputs in this environment, in this 21st century media environment, social media, if we continue to let those inputs bombard us, you're not going to be happy at all. Your emotional fitness is like, remember what I said. One of the beautiful things about vision is it gives you guardrails and it shows you what to block. Some stuff we don't even look at in my house. We don't even, it don't even, it's like, we flipping the channel, it's like, nope, nope, nope. Like, and it's so crazy because a lot of times we just turn the TV back off. Like, let's watch something. We're like, okay, nope, 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 nope. You know what? Let's just put on some music. Click. Because none of it aligns. None of it aligns. So that's health and well-being. Those are the three categories. Then you go to relationships and love, your romantic life. Many people are nursing a foundational belief that they will always be alone. And you got to distinguish that thing first. But then here's the second piece. Once you know that there's a foundational belief, you have to address the foundational belief, and then you have to do the scary part. It's actually create a deep desire for love. Oh, that's scary. I know, because I was there. That's scary. It's so much easier to be like, I don't care. Nah, man, can't trust these women. Can't trust these men. I'm take care of myself. I don't want to be with nobody like that. I want nobody to have emotional control over me. Even though I don't have emotional control over myself, right? Because if you have emotional control over yourself, you realize nobody can have emotional control over you. So we abandon the dream. We abandon the goal. Linnell, well, I'm a woman, and, it's not that many good men. Well, then it's not that many good men. Like you said it. We're about to talk about that in the second hour. The power of your words. Not just the power of your words, but the power of your thoughts. Relationships and love, romantic life, social life, parenting. Now, if you're not a parent, then there's only two categories there, because parenting is a huge deal. And if you're a parent, you should not just have a vision for yourself. You should have a vision for your children. Let me tell y'all something. I watched King Richard. Where was I going? I think I was headed to Ghana. I watched King Richard. And that movie left me like, Linnell, you got work to do. Here's why. Because what I noticed about that brother is he was incredibly clear on who his children were going to be, from the oldest to the youngest. The oldest, she's supposed to be a doctor or something, right? He had that distinguished. You doing this because I didn't get you in time to make you a tennis star, so you're going to be great another way. But these two right here, like, movies add things, right? But according to the movie, this man got his wife to have 2 more children, Venus and Serena, so he could make them tennis stars. Are you? And like, this is how the movie started. So when I saw that, I was like, this man's vision was so clear. Babe, we need to have more children so I can, like, I don't have time with this one. Like, this one too old. I need to get them younger. What? No wonder they became who they became. And the movie left me with, I've been crafting a big picture vision for my children in terms of legacy, but how do I, without being overpowering and controlling, because I believe so strongly in purpose, how do we craft a vision for our children that is so powerful, they can't help but be successful. They can't help but be the best. They can't help but be the best. Here's the other thing. What I loved about the movie too was, I'm gonna share this in words. I'm gonna come back to it. But when reporters would say, "How are you so confident?" he would interrupt the interview. "Don't mess with my child's belief." He would and they were like, "He's so overbearing," but he understood He understood what I'm teaching. He understood that if you plant a negative seed, you might disrupt everything. I didn't put too much work here. I don't care who you are. You journalist so-and-so. Sometimes we give people power because they have some kind of prestige. You like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to say nothing because they know what's, I don't want to, man, I love that man. He was like, they recording. He like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Now she said she was going to win. Leave it there. I was like, what? Whew. King Richard. You want to watch something edifying? That's a good movie. That's a good movie. It's long, though. That's why I watched it on the plane to Ghana. It's long. But vision. The third pillar is working money. The three categories that you can build. By the way, I'm talking about what you should be deeply desiring. These are areas where you can increase your desire. Working money, your career. What do you desire around your career? What do you desire around your financial clarity? There is no reason to go into retirement unclear. I'm 46 years old. I'm clear. At least bottom level, what Pam and I will retire with financially and what we can do. Right? I'm clear. I'm clear on where we're going. I'm clear. I'm clear. Financial clarity in the working money. Are you clear? Hopefully you have a deep desire for financial clarity. And by the way, if you're listening right now, you're like, man, this makes so much sense. Why am I not focused in these areas? The reason you're not focused in these areas is because your inputs don't align. You get knocked off course as soon as the radio goes off, as soon as you turn off the Facebook feed. You get knocked off course. When you have a vision for something, remember, you see it, you feel it, you embrace it. So the show goes off, then I'm like, okay, I need to listen to my financial podcast. And if I'm not listening to something, I'm thinking about something. Yesterday, I was in the living room. My wife turned around. She looked at me. She said, what you doing? Thinking. Because she feels like, you staring at me? You staring at the back of me? Now, I'll do that sometimes. It's my wife. Right? But that time, I was in thought. She's like, what's going on? Oh, I was thinking, babe. Because this is I'm trying to keep my thoughts aligned with who she is, with where I'm going and where we're going. She had rain in her arms, and I'm just in thought. The last piece is quality of life in the working money pillar. Quality of life. I want you to really think about this one. Where is your quality of life beneath your personal standards? See, I believe in abundance. I believe in doing things the right way. Don't get me wrong. But don't go in debt trying to improve your quality of life, because that's going to create a boomerang of a lack of quality of life. We got to do it the right way. But it's okay. The scriptures say, to be content. And there's power in contentment. And so how I see it is, I'm content as I cast a vision for more. I'm grateful where I am right now. God knows there's been many times I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful. And I believe the Creator has more for me. You can be content and grateful and aspire and desire more. It's healthy and it's human. Now, quality of life, this is what I want to share. Quality of life. When you think about quality of life, I want you to think about any area of your life where you see there's opportunity. You see there's opportunity. It can be as simple as your toilet running. My toilet keep running. It runs through the night. I don't want to live like that. It could be that simple. you know what? Not only am I going to fix the toilet, I'm going to remodel it. Like I want my bathroom to speak to me. That's a different quality of life. You're looking at a different quality of life. What do you desire in terms of your quality of life? You know, I've been driving this car now for 10 years, and a perfect example. For a long time, you guys know I had a 2008 Audi A6. And I wouldn't buy anything else because it was great. Then, you know, one day I hit the remote and I squeeze it and the doors don't come open. I got to squeeze it again, finally like, boop, boop. Okay, there we go. Starting to mess with my quality of life. You know, like, okay, look like she got to go. Right? Because I'm committed to a certain quality of life. Like now, while the car was riding smooth, you know, hey, everything was okay, cool. Still, I miss that car. But, you know, start messing with my quality of life. Here's the last piece, purpose and spirituality. When you're thinking about what you desire deeply, your spiritual growth and connection is one category. And I think that's number one. Like, I think you talk about gaining a foundation. By the way, these pillars are not in some order of significance. And so you think about that purpose and spirituality pillar is one of the most, I would say the most important. As a matter of fact, what I tell Slayer Goals members is that think of the pillars of life as the two most powerful pieces on the end, the bookends. They hold everything up, your health and well-being and your purpose and spirituality. And those play right into each other. So you have your spiritual connection and growth. Like, are you spiritually connected? Here's how you know. The pandemic was the test for me. Like, I had been working on my spiritual connection and growth. And when the pandemic happened, I was so happy I'd been working on that. That pandemic came, man, everything got crazy and chaotic and uncertain. And all I had to do was just connect and pray, and I had peace. Woo, I was grateful for that. That's the only way I was able to lead and support you all through the pandemic, my spiritual connection and growth. Otherwise, I'd have been like, I don't know what to say. I'd have been on the phone like, so what you think? And, you know, people just say, oh, what about this, Linnell? Instead, I was able to support. But it didn't come from me. That came through the Spirit, man. Because that thing there, like, you know, many of y'all remember the first 2 weeks? Like, what is going on? So spiritual growth, your purpose, again, this is an important pillar. Like, do you have a desire to truly know and be operating within your life's purpose? Your character. Now, I'm going to end the first part of the show, the first hour, with this piece. Because many of us, we have character traits that we're not proud of. They're little character flaws that you hide and, you know, other people don't really know about. But you know it's there. You know, typically your spouse knows too. And you've been working on this thing. Maybe you haven't, but it's something you want to rid yourself of. You want a different level of character in this area. It could be in terms of your prudence financially. It could be your lust for a man or a woman. It could be anything that is derailing your ability to create powerfully, anything that's encroaching on your personal integrity. Do you have a desire to shift and fix that? And if you do, you can cast a vision for the individual and the person you will be and who it is you intend to become. How do you handle the pushback from family and close friends when you are blocking out things traditionally because you're aligned with your vision? My answer to that was to move in silence. To move in silence You know, you don't have to always talk about what you're creating. And if it's noticeable, even in your moving in silence, from a place of personal integrity in terms of how you take action, if it's noticeable that you're not aligned with what's going on traditionally, then, you know, this is where you have to just, you know, say, like, you know, you may not understand where I am right now. I love you, but just I'm asking you to trust me and give me space. This doesn't mean you don't talk to them, though, okay? Because when I say move in silence, it don't mean you don't talk. It means you don't talk about your vision. You can still chit-chat. Hey, how you doing? How was your day? But, you know, you don't share your vision with them because a lot of people won't get it. I gave the example of when I had the vision to leave corporate America, and I shared it with my mom, who always had my back. And she was like, nah, well, now I don't know now. And I knew then I had to stop sharing my vision with her. I just didn't talk about it anymore because I knew that what the Creator had put in me in terms of my purpose and where I was supposed to go next, she didn't understand. And it wasn't for her to understand. It wasn't a matter of love. It was a matter of personal vision, personal calling. When you're called to do something, it was you that were called, nobody else. And so you got to go do that thing. Okay. Then the next question was, what happens when people you love aren't mentally capable to see the vision you have and what it takes to get there? Well, you know, don't tell them. Like that's, you know, don't tell them. Leave it alone. You know, and if they're like, you still working on that thing? You're like, well, you know, I am, and I'm not expecting you to, you know, do anything. Like you don't have to prove anything to me. And if you don't get it, I know. And just, you know, send me your love. Please send me your love. They said, what about changes with your young adult children? Because it's a monster you created when they were young. And I think they're talking about the, you know, Christmas tradition. I talked about that a little bit. So what happens is we create these monsters, right? You were into something. And my response to her was, first, ask for forgiveness. Like, I programmed you wrong. And likely, I programmed you wrong because I was programmed that way. I'm sorry. And you may not understand where I'm coming from now. And I'm sorry for that. This is where you got to take full responsibility. And I'm sorry for that because I helped create where you are and likely where they're taking their children. And I hope that you can honor me and trust me with where I am right now and know that because I love you, I would not be doing anything I believe that would harm you. In fact, I'm apologizing because I believe I did harm you. And, you know, they may or may not be reasonable. That's the most that you can do there. All right. How do we navigate what's coming? Because we don't know. Vision. Now, let me break this down. One of the beautiful things about vision, like being incredibly clear on your vision, is that it directs you. So I talked about the guardrails of vision, but vision directs you. So this means that I'm on a path, like I've already declared my path before I know what happens. So before I know there's an economic recession, I said I was going to make more money, right? I created a financial vision. And so what happens is while everybody else is like, oh no, the sky is falling. What's going to happen, right? I'm so locked that while they're kind of frailing, I'm so locked. I'm like, okay, so in order for me to take my business from here and to exit, I have to, like, I'm locked in. My behaviors, my actions are aligned with my vision. My thinking is aligned with my vision. Why is this important? One of the ways that they create these cycles is they permeate our thinking. Let me ask you a question. Do you think everybody foreclosed on their home in 2007, 2008? Do you think everybody had financial troubles? Do you think everybody felt financial pain? What's the answer to that? What's the answer to that? No. So how did others avoid the pain that you experienced? They were thinking on a different level. They didn't fall into the surging river of economic troubles because they embraced something different. They were thinking on something different. A lot of folks got rich in 2008, 2009. A lot of people became real estate magnates during that time because they were focused on something different. While we were afraid over here, we were just talking about this morning, about the stock market. Like, yeah, the market been crazy. I'm like, this is when you buy. But see, it's about vision. Like if I'm clear on what the game I'm playing, they're like, the market is down. I'm like, the market's on sale. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of thinking. And so we have got to understand that when uncertainty is always in front of us, and that's what makes vision so powerful. This is the reason, go back to the scripture I shared last week for the first time ever, Proverbs 29:18, my people perish for lack of vision, because that means you're swept up by any wave that comes along. What's your plan? What's your vision? But let's really get into this because it's not as simple as that. If it were, we'd be doing it. What's the big picture plan for 2023? What's the big picture plan for your life? Not just for a year, but for your life. Like, what game are you playing? Like, I'm so focused on legacy, man. I'm like, and it's not for a place of ego. It's for my children. I want my children, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren just to be able to say their name. Oh, you a Harris? You one of them Harrises, huh? Oh, wow. Wow. See, that's the vision. Oh, wow. I heard about your grandfather. Like, that's the game I'm playing. And then, I don't want them to be able to like, yeah, he did have a little scandal, though. That part. Right? Because that'd go down in history, too. What's your big picture for your life? Because when you're thinking about life, then, you don't make mistaken moments. Let me say that one more time. When you're thinking about the fullness and wholeness of your life, you don't make mistakes in moments. You're like, oh, no, we can't go that way. That's not my path. Are you visualizing, feeling, and embracing it? Vision provides a supernatural creative capacity. Ooh, I hope somebody didn't turn the radio off before they heard that. They just missed out. I hope they didn't get a phone call or whatever happens that creates resistance. Vision provides a supernatural creative capacity. All right, Linnell, you got to explain that. You got to explain. You can't just go saying this. We suffer because we lack an understanding of our supernatural creative capacity. So we create chaos. Now somebody right now, they're having trouble with this. So then let me ask you a few questions. Skyscrapers aren't supernatural. That ain't natural to be able to walk up to a window 100 plus feet up, 100 stories, huh? 120 stories, 130 stories, 150. The Burj Khalifa, that's not natural. It don't even look natural. That's why you go all the way to Dubai to see it. People take pictures. People stand out. There's a big fountain out there, right? And they stand out there and they take pictures because it's supernatural. It's different. That ain't natural. If it were natural, you walk right by. Grass is natural. Really, grass is supernatural. You really think about it. When you really, really think about it, the way it, synthesizes carbon dioxide and turns it into oxygen so you can breathe, that's supernatural too. Matter of fact, we are completely surrounded by the supernatural, and we don't know how to create supernaturally. Planes. Ain't nothing normal about that. See, we be like, you just get on the plane, sit in my seat, then take off. You're in the air, flying, and then you land. Some of y'all do that without even praying. Y'all done got so used to it. You be on there cussing at somebody. You about to go in the air. That ain't natural. Somebody had a supernatural vision. I'm going to make metal fly. They had a supernatural vision, and they understood their supernatural creative capacity. And because they understood it, they did it. A car that can go 100 miles an hour, what's natural about that? And all of us own them. So we run around in these supernatural things, and we become so accustomed to supernatural that we've lost our supernatural power. That's weird. Well, that's weird. You have supernatural creative capacity. There's nothing different about you than the Wright brothers. There's nothing different about you than the creator of the Willis Tower or Burj Khalifa. There's nothing different about you than the creators of the pyramids in Egypt that they still don't have figured out. Supernatural creative capacity. We suffer because we lack an understanding of this creative capacity. So here's what happens. Because I don't know I'm supernatural, and nobody teaches us this. I talked about why they don't teach us this last week, because if you knew how powerful you were, right, if they taught you that, they wouldn't be able to control you, right? We can't have too many Linnell Harrises now, okay? We can't have too many of you. So they don't teach you this. So what happens is you take all of this, just because you don't know it doesn't mean you don't have it. So what happens is your supernatural creative capacity has no real direction and flow, and so you've been creating chaotically. Look around you. This is why you're in the situation you're in. You're like, well, I don't have no money. You created that. Don't get mad at me. I'm like, listen to me. I'm trying to help. I promise you I'm trying to help. I'm broke. You created that. I'm sick. You created that. No, that's my genetic pool. Telling you, you created that. I've been divorced 3 times. You created that. I got church hurt. You created that. Whoo. All right, how? How did you create these things? See, because once we begin to understand how we created the chaos, we can begin to break the chaos down into order. You created it with your words, your thoughts, and your actions or inactions. This might be a good time to text your friend and say, you need to listen to Inspirational Perspective this morning. You need to check this out. The words we speak have creative power. Now, I promised last week we're going to go through the chart, I need you to put the chart back up again. Put that chart back up. Part of the way that we create, so once you create a vision, the next piece is that you declare it. You declare it. Many of us have been declaring things into our lives without even knowing it. That's why you got to be careful with your language when you curse. Somebody like, damn it. You don't think that means anything. You like, that don't mean anything. Oh, no. Damn has a definition. Hold on, so what are you saying damn to? Let's look up the definition of damn. Because you're a powerful creator. So the definition of damn means to be condemned by God and to suffer eternal punishment in hell. Some of us are in hell right now because we done said damn it too much. The car hits a pothole. Damn it. You done damned the car. Then when it breaks down, we like, damn it again. And we're like, well, I can't understand why things just won't go right. Well, you doing it. You're doing it, you powerful creator. You're doing it. You're creating the chaos and the confusion in your own life. With your words. Well, Linnell, I don't curse. That's horrible. I'm with you on that. They shouldn't say those things. It's hard for me to even listen to you say it, and I know you're teaching. I can't imagine. The last time I cursed was 35 years ago when the Lord saved me. Oh, yeah? What about your thoughts? See, because here's the thing, right? This is how we create. So if you're not creating powerfully in your life, you could be pious, you could be righteous, but there's a missing piece, there's a missing link. So how are you thinking? How are you thinking? What kind of thoughts do you toss? See, sometimes we think you could be married. He just don't know. He just don't know. I would, You ain't say it though, but your thoughts have a vibration. Your thoughts are what's creating contention in your home. Your thoughts are what's causing the lack of harmony. Your thoughts are the reason why your children are rebelling. It's your thoughts. Then we got these little colloquial funny sayings. I wish you would. It's like, but do you? Talking about being impeccable with your word. See, because when you're a creator, when you understand how powerful you are, you start thinking twice before you say a thing. Last week, I talked about the ability to speak into a person's life while they're asleep, while they're unconscious, the mind is still conscious. And how you can create a foundational belief, how you can lift them up or how you can tear them down. But the same thing happens when you're conscious. I told a story some time ago. I was, years ago working. And, this is back when I still had a lot to learn. And my behavior with women wasn't the way it should be. And a lot of people who worked for me knew that. They knew, Linnell got, he dated multiple people, stuff like that. So one of the older ladies in the office. But see, here's the thing. I understood some of this. Back then. One of the ladies in the office said, Linnell, you so awful. You're going to have all girls. And I stopped everything. I said, take that back. Take that back. I understood the power of her words into my life. And I knew that I wanted a son first. I knew I wanted that. And so take that back. And things got tense. Everybody we were laughing and talking and things. Everything got tense because I understood the power of her words. Take that back. I'm just playing with you. Take it back. Say it ain't so. So okay, well, you won't have all girls. Your firstborn will be a boy. All right. We left it there. My firstborn was a boy. Somebody oh, that's just a coincidence. Okay, well, you go and start looking at everything in your life and tell me how many coincidences you have based on words. Folks, we are out here casting spells on people that we love and allowing spells to be cast on us because we're all powerful human beings. We're all supernatural human beings. We all have the Spirit of God in us. Whether we're creating for or against him, we have creation capacity. What are you saying? What are you thinking? And how are you acting? Hey, man, this right here ain't popular because you're talking about personal responsibility. What I'm talking about right now is personal responsibility. And it's tough to digest. Personal responsibility. Am I personally responsible for my words, for what I speak into my son's life, for what I speak into my daughter's life, for what I speak into my wife's life? What about my thoughts? Here we go again. See, she always, because I'm sending a vibration that will either solidify that and make it concrete or begin to break it down. Am I building my wife in my thoughts? Am I building my family in my thoughts? Am I building my business, my workers, the people that report to me in my thoughts and my words? The reason many of us are experiencing the chaos that we experience is because our words, our thoughts, and our actions are out of control. You can't control your mouth. Even though life and death is in the power of the tongue, you can't control your mouth. You can't control your thoughts because you let anything into your mind's eye, anything into your eye, anything into your ear, anything into your mouth, anything into your nose. So everything around you is chaotic. And then you can't even control yourself. It breaks my heart when I hear an adult say, I couldn't stop drinking. I was sitting there and I couldn't stop drinking. I don't know why I kept drinking. You can't control your actions. Do you know why the Creator says not to get drunk? Christians, do you even know why the Creator is against drunkenness? Like, do you really get it? Because here's what happens. There's a lot of room now. Like, it's not real good teaching now. Like, you got principles and a lot of stuff. They like, oh, that's old school. And nobody's talking about why. Here's the reason why you shouldn't be drunk. Because you are a creative superhouse, like super powerhouse. And if in your drunkenness you say something, you could break everything you've been building. If in your drunkenness you think something, you could begin to put cracks in everything you're building. And in your drunkenness, you act and do something, you can knock it all down. How many marriages have been ruined due to alcohol, due to drunkenness? How many people have made decisions they would have never made, taken actions and said things that they would have never said? This absolutism, I think, is what has us in trouble. Like, oh, you shouldn't drink. No, you shouldn't get drunk. You shouldn't get drunk. And I think the absolutism is what takes people's power away. That's why we're spiritually weak. So this means my words, my thoughts, my actions need to be defined as I create. And vision creates the guardrails for my words, my thoughts, and my actions. How about that? Because now I know where I'm going. So I'm declaring those things. I'm saying those things. I didn't even hit it the way I should have. Put the chart back up. So when you look at envision the result in the chart, right? Look at envision the result in the chart. The next piece is to declare it. The next piece is to declare it. Now, when you cast a vision, The next piece you're supposed to do is verbally align yourself with the future possibility. And you put a time on it. Ooh, now this right here. If you're listening today and you get this, this is about to change everything. All right. Now, so you got the vision, you visualize, feel, and embrace it. So I'm thinking about this every day. I've embraced it. I'm feeling it. I see it. And I've declared it. I've declared it. I will be in magnificent health in 2023 by June. Like, that's a declaration. That's a declaration. Be like, well, Linnell, I got pain in my knees and pain in my... I don't know how it works, but it does. I'm going to talk about how before we close the show. But it does. I can't even tell you all how many times I've had lingering pains that I just didn't think would go away. My back, my knees. I'm like, when I said that declaration, I was talking about myself. Okay? And they're gone. Because I set a vision and declared it. Right now, your marriage could be in shambles. You can declare we will be married, but not just married, happily married by March of 2023. We will be so in love with one another again. Now you know how to speak, you know how to think, and you know what actions to take. Last week I picked on the women. Now I'm gonna pick on the man. I was talking about the wife being bad. Be like, but Linnell, he lazy. He's lazy. As long as he lazy, I can't get with it. Start declaring work ethic into that man's life. Speak in his ears. You a hard working man. You a hard working man that loves and takes care of his family. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. You will have a job that changes everything for us financially by March 2023. You'd be surprised. Like, I mean, they can put metal in air. Why can't you do that? Well, Linnell, the economic climate, they did say there are a lot of jobs, but I'm just not. See, this is what gets in the way, your thoughts. You got to arrest those, break those chains. You got to arrest those kind of thoughts. You can create whatever you can see in your mind's eye. Once you are clear on where you're going, your words are aligned, your thinking is aligned, your actions are aligned, you can't help but create powerfully. And then when you're there, see, once you've had your first win, W-I-N, once you've had your first win, one of the things I teach is celebration. Because now I got to program my mind that I'm a winner, right? So you win, you celebrate. You win, you celebrate. So once you had your first win, you celebrate. And the reason why is because when uncertainty begins to present itself, because it will, now you have mental data you can pull from. Oh, but I'm a winner. I create powerfully. Let me put it like this. I knew a recession was coming. We talked about this last week, right? I knew a recession was coming before they ever announced it. I saw the trend happening. Watching GDP, I knew it was coming. My wife and I, in 2021, set a goal to buy a home. We're going to buy a new home. So I knew that recession was coming, economic recession. I knew interest rates were going to never change the goal. Why? Because I rely on the long view, my vision. Now, my wife would tell you I have my moments, right? I'm human. I have my moments. Interest rates going up. What? What's going on? Despite all of that, we locked in a rate that was great. Bought the home at that rate. Got a home that now when I look at the market, I can't even understand how we got the house for that price. I can't explain it. I can't explain it. I'm going to close the show with this. One of the main things that gets in the way of our ability to create powerfully when it comes to vision is then we begin to obsess about how. Now, I want you to listen to me real good right now, right? Because many of you have already had this thought. Well, Linnell, I could declare my health, but how am I going to do it? You don't even understand how my knees work. How I'm going to run. Right? I'm being real right now, right? Well, Linnell, I'd like to create that. I would like to declare and create a vision around my marriage, but I don't even know how. This man is unbearable. He goes out and drinks. He does this. He does that. And I don't even know how we're going to pull it together. Don't worry about how. You know what's interesting about us? We'll go into praise and worship. How awesome is my God? How awesome. And then arrest all his power because I need to know how you're going to do it. What is going on? Don't worry about how. You got this awesome supernatural creative capacity to cast a vision, to speak it, to think it, and then you take on your actions. You take on your actions. You don't worry about how. You know where you're going while you're flexible with how you get there. I know where I'm going, right? I think we should get there through counseling. I go and say, hey, honey, I want to go to counseling. I'm not doing no counseling. Oh, okay, I know where I'm going, but I'm willing to be flexible with how I get there. Let me give you an example of what I mean. This is how powerful vision is. Let me give you a personal example from my own life. Hopefully my wife don't get mad at me. I love you, baby. So I crafted a marriage goal. This is some years ago. We were first married. We were newly married, about maybe 2 years in. And I crafted this vision and this goal, an experiential goal statement. I'm going to teach you all what that is later. And part of this was, okay, I'm going to step up. I'm going to do these nice things for my wife. Like, she likes that. She desires this. And I'm going to do these things. And it was a Monday. I remember what day of the week it was. It's a Monday. She had told me, she had gone out with her sister and went to this restaurant and something, she had a drink she really liked. And so I'm going to make this drink for my wife. So it was a Monday, and I had a little break between work, and she was at her office, and I decided I'm going to go get in the car. I'm going to drive off to Benny's. I'm going to get all the ingredients for this drink and surprise my wife with this drink. So I go get in the car. Before I could turn the car on, my wife calls my cell phone. And I pick up the phone, and her energy it ain't all that good. Now, if you married, you understand where I'm coming from. You get it, right? You get it. She was upset about something, caught me off guard, and she laid into me. And I'm like, I ain't doing nothing for her. I ain't doing nothing. Like, man, I was salty. We hung up. I was like, man. Matter of fact, I was driving to Benny's as she was like kind of making her complaint or whatever it was. And I'm like, by the time I pulled into the parking lot, I was ready to drive home. I'm going up in this store. I'm about to do something nice for you. And I'm going up in this store. And, you don't even know. I'm a good man. I'm a good man. That's what we do. Especially, those of us who, we know we halfway decent. I'm a good man. Ain't that many good men out here. That's what the sisters be saying. You gotta listen to that. So, something hits me, says, well, that's not what you're committed to. You made a commitment. You cast a vision for your marriage. And you're allowing a circumstance, a little situation to get in the way. You need to go in there and do what you intended to do. Woo, I didn't want to. Woo! I walk in Benny's, right? And I'm like, hey, I need such and such and such and such. They're like, oh, it's aisle 8. Go over to aisle 8, I don't see it. I'm happy. You ever been there before? I'm happy. I did what I said I was going to do. They don't have it. And so I start to walk to the cash register, and I start to walk out, right? Walk past it, and something says, well, you didn't even ask. So, I didn't see such and such a aisle 8. Can you show me where it is? They, oh, yeah, sure, sir. I'm like, oh, man. They walk me right to it. There it is, right? It's some kind of mix, So now I got to buy it. So I go buy it. And mind you, I'm like, but I ain't making it tonight. Not doing this tonight. She doesn't deserve it today, right? This is how married folk think in relationship, right? She doesn't deserve it today. I'm exposing myself. So I go home, I drive home, I got the bag with me. And a client calls as I'm getting out the garage. A client calls. And without even knowing it, I left the bag on the kitchen counter. Now, I didn't intend to leave that bag on the kitchen counter. I was going to take it downstairs to the basement bar and hide it because she did not deserve for me to make that drink. But I left it on the kitchen counter. And I forgot about it. Now, mind you, she was upset with me. She remembers it was a strawberry peach Bellini. You remember that? Martini, that's right. And so I forgot it was on the counter. So I finish up my work day. My wife comes home. I think this is pre-children. This is before we had children. So you know how it is. You ain't no children in the house Monday afternoon. I was going to make that drink, you know what I'm saying? You have a little drink with my wife that night. And so I forget, and I come home. She comes home, and I'm in my office. She comes in, and she's so happy and so excited. And, baby, you got my drink. And I'm like, oh, man, I left it upstairs. And she comes, and she jumps in the chair and hugs and kisses me. And all my anger and all my dissatisfaction just went away. I didn't even care no more. We had a phenomenal evening. All of that because I stayed in alignment with the vision and the commitment with the vision. I didn't want to go buy it. And this is what I mean when I tell married folk in particular that you can cast a vision that's so powerful that it impacts the both of you, two of you. You just have to stay aligned. Here's the last piece. Don't hang up. Don't go nowhere. If you're sitting outside the church, just stay put. I promise you it's worth it. All right? You're not going to miss much. Here's the last piece. When it comes to not worrying about how, I want to give you some ammunition that doesn't just come from me. I want to read a quote from the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. This is something I give to my clients. I have them read chapter 2 of this book, Psycho-Cybernetics. And Dr. Maltz talks about this. And this is what he says, quote, "The means by which your success mechanism works often takes care of themselves and does so effortlessly when you supply the vision, the goal, to your brain." Now, what's the success mechanism? Real quick. The success mechanism is that thing inside of you that wants to be successful. That's you're inherently were given that by the Creator. That thing inside you that wants to build, that wants to be successful. He goes on to say, the precise action steps will come to you, right? So when you have the vision, you have the goal. The precise action steps, you don't have to know how, because the precise action steps will come to you without stress, tension, or worry about how you're going to accomplish the result you seek. You don't have to stress. See, this is what giving it to God looks like. Many of us, man, our stress, our tension, our worry is why we can't get past the vision state. Be like, well, I'm a good visionary, Linnell, but I can't create it. Your stress, your tension, your worry. That's what's getting in the way. Then Dr. Maltz goes on to say, many people make the mistake of interfering with their success mechanism by demanding a how before the vision and goal are clearly established. You can't even get through the whole vision, and you're like, well, how is it going to happen? He then goes on to say, after you formed a mental image of the vision and the goal, I'm adding vision in there, by the way, of the vision and the goal you seek to create, the how will come to you, not before. Remain calm and relaxed, and the answers will arrive. Then he goes on to say, any attempt to force the ideas to come will not work. As Brian Tracy wrote, in all mental workings, effort defeats itself, end quote. Today, many of us, we've gotten used to working so hard. We've gotten used to exerting ourselves mentally. That when it comes to casting a vision and actually stepping back and allowing the answers to come, it feels foreign. When I tell you that this is the key, aligning your supernatural creative capacity with that of your Creator, taking everything you've learned in church over the years, let go, let God, that this is your way out, I can say that with the utmost confidence. I've seen it in my life. I've seen it work in my life. I've created using this process. And I know that you can create using this process too. Hey, my inspired peoples. Linnell Harris here, certified ontological coach and trainer. I'm so excited that you're watching the channel. By the way, did you know you can catch the show live at 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. every Sunday morning? You can. All you have to do is go to my Facebook stream, Coach Linnell Harris, catch the stream live, or you can listen to the radio show via iHeart at WVON 1690 AM. But since you're here, if you love the content, I ask that you share it, like this particular video, and subscribe to the channel. I hope you're having a great day.